on. I'm not going to do anything that would bring attention to me and henceforth the Savior. Okay. Then there were certain of the synagogue, which is the church crowd. You had to watch that church crowd. You get to serving God too much, spending too much money at the church, leading too many people to Jesus who really ain't got means to tithe on a certain level or dress a certain level, then there's something wrong with you, because this is our church and this is the way we want it. We don't want them people. Wouldn't you? I'd hate to know I was part of a church that even thought such as that. I can tell you the ones I'd want is the ones we were bringing in, and I would hope that the ones that were there thinking that way would go somewhere else. I can tell you that. Okay. These arose certain synagogues which are called the synagogue of the Libertines, Cyrenians, Alexandrians, Baptists, Pentecostal, Methodist, Presbyterian. Didn't matter who it was. Because let me tell you something, if Paul came to this church, I'd get my hide skint, and so would you. And if Stephen was a deacon here, we'd probably get our hide skint, and that'd just be the way it is. And they say, look, you got to step up. You got to do a little better. And you say, who do you think you are? Well, according to the Bible, I'm full of faith, power, and do great wonders and miracles. I'm the servant of the true and living God. How about you? You say, well, since you put it that way, I reckon I'll listen to you. I reckon. Right? And here's what they did. Now, in the previous chapter, they stirred up the people, didn't they? They got to doing this. Running that mouth. People good at running that mouth, right? Stirring the grits, getting stuff going. They ain't got no business. Now, sometimes grits need stirred. Okay? But most of the grits that get stirred don't need to be stirred. Matter of fact, you need to take your hand off the spoon all the way together and get away from the pot. It says right here that they, in verse 11, then they suborned men which said, we have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and against God. Truth or a lie? Lie. So they got to lie on him. Why they got to lie on him? Because he don't do nothing wrong. Now, he's not perfect in himself, but he serves a perfect Savior, and he's so busy serving God, he ain't got time to do the other mess, right? Even think on it, because all he wants to do is giving himself wholeheartedly to the Lord. And so the only thing they can do to him is the same thing they did to Jesus, is to try to lie on him. That's all they can do, right? They stirred up the people, verse 12, and the elders and the scribes, and came upon him and caught him and brought him to the council. So who's the crowd that's against him? The church crowd. It's all the church crowd. Now you say, well, I'm serving God. I'm doing what God would have me to do. I've been preaching, I've been teaching, and as a deacon, he waited on tables, he ministered to people, he did the things that position required to free up the apostles. He was doing all those things and still had such great power of spirit within his life that people were healed and things were done. There's wonderful things going on. And so now the church is out there against him, not the world. Now, Paul, the Romans come against him because they were cutting in their money. Now here we see the church is coming after this brother. Verse 14. For we have heard him say that Jesus of Nazareth shall destroy this place and shall change the customs which Moses delivered us. Now, Jesus told them that destruction was coming. In 70 AD it did, and destroyed every bit of it. The temple was torn all the way down completely. And Jesus did come to destroy the sinfulness of man's religion and the falsehood of it. He came to give you a relationship with himself that you might be born again and have a relationship with God, because that's the only way it happens. He tried the religion thing with them, right? That's why he gave them the law. And they failed miserably. Okay? They failed the test. We failed the test. And all that sat in the council, looking steadfastly on. Now, think about this now. He's a godly man, served a man. He's got a great reputation. You've stirred up the people and all the religious people in authority who are just flat out dirty, rotten, stinking sinners is all they are. And here they are questioning this boy, coming out, accusing him of lies. He